Hello and welcome back to a Kooky corner of YouTube. Today we're at my desk and we are going to make a Christmas crown. Now the Christmas crown is generally worn in the UK for Christmas dinner, and the Christmas crown usually worn is a paper one, and it's found in something called a Christmas cracker. If you don't know what one of those is, it's like a tubular shaped, it looks like a bonbon actually, it's like a sweetie, but it's usually quite about that big really, and it's got two ends and it's got a crack inside it, a firecracker, paper firecracker, and as you pull it, it makes a crack sound, and whoever gets the bigger part of the cracker during the pull, because you'll pull it with one of the people at the table with you, whoever gets the bigger part wins the contents of the cracker. Contents of the cracker usually contain a paper crown. This is a fabric one, but a paper crown is usually found inside a cracker. There will be a small gift, sometimes a key ring, sometimes just a silly little fish that you put on your hand that curls up its ends, depending on your mood. There are all kinds of things you could find inside a cracker. Some are better than others, but there will always be a paper hat, a paper crown, and a joke. There's usually a joke or a motto inside the cracker. Well, I have an issue with paper crowns. Paper crowns and me do not get along. I have quite poofy hair, and that means that when I put a cracker on, generally it will start to push up the cracker and it'll go to all kinds of weird angles and it'll just slide off, and it'll just keep sliding off through dinner, and that annoys me immensely. And so this year I've decided, you know what, I'm going to make my own crown. So that's what I've done. I've made myself a little slow stitched crown. So this is basically a piece of slow stitching that is done on a slow stitch, done on a felt background, and then backed with felt also. Now, the other issue I have with crowns is they're either too big or too little. So for my purposes, I have made it to a certain size, and then at the back, I've given myself a bit of an elastic. So this one is not going to slide off. It's not going to fall in my dinner and annoy me. This is going to be a crown that I will proudly wear for my Christmas dinner. Now, I'll probably wear it other times as well because I quite like it. But that's just me. I am making one for my partner as well, so we're both going to have a lovely little crown here, and I'll probably end up making some for the rest of the family too, because they'll all be jealous of my crown, basically. Anyway, this is how we're going to make it. I've got a template. If anybody's interested, it will be in my Facebook group. It's really simple. You don't actually need a template of mine, but let me show you the size. So basically, let me fold it up so you can see. It's going to be like that size there. I've just folded mine up because what I've done is I've cut my template out 3 times and then just joined them together, and that's about the right size for my head. So you're going to have to measure the right size for your head to get your size of a crown. It's really simple. You could generate your own. It's basically just strip with triangles on. So that's how it's drawn out. I did mine in Procreate. It's just simple, made a triangle shape, and then the triangles were joined together and then repeated. That's the way I did it. So you could do that, but if you want one that's ready made that you can just cut out and join, it will be in my Facebook group in the files, just so you know. So let's get on with our crown making. So you're going to need some base felt. I have got, I've just been making one, another one up. So I've got like this roll of felt. This came from Paper and String. It's like a metre of felt in a roll, and they call them mini rolls of felt because they're not very wide. They're about 12 inches, I think, or something like that. But they've got quite a bit of felt on them. So I cut out 2 bases. Now, the reason I've done 2 is the fact that I'm going to put all my pieces on this one. All my pieces that I'm going to sew down are going to go on this. So this is going to be the front, and then I'll have a piece that goes on the back. So if I show you on this one here, it's backed in felt. It's nice and soft. And the reason it's nice and soft is that I also have a piece of iron-on wadding, which I will put on the back piece. I'll iron it on there, and then that gets sewn in. Now the wadding needs to be a little smaller than the pattern. So what I did when I did mine was that I'd get the pattern and I would put the wadding a little further down on it so that it's got more chance of being enclosed, but it's quite giving, the wadding, so you can maneuver it around a little bit. So wadding, felt, and pieces of scrap fabric in the colours of your choice. Now you know that I am bright and Larry. This is my way. You do whatever colours suit you. You could do it in the traditional Christmas colours. You could do a nice neutral coloured hat. You could, if you're wearing a special outfit, you could make a hat to match it. It is down to you. So the first thing we need to do is to get our fabrics, and I have just laid out mine on this second crown that I'm making here, and you'll see that I've not shaped them to fit the crown or anything. I've just done them as is and pinned them on in a fashion that I like. So it all looks like that. I'm just pulling it along so you can see it underneath the camera. So there's lots of different scrappy bits of fabric here that I've just pulled from my box of scraps, and they all go on there quite nicely. Now to get the shape, if you turn over your crown, then you can then just trim it down. Be careful you don't cut through pins. It's not the best thing to be doing, but what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go around each of these triangles, cut out the fabric that I don't want, and instead of you sitting and watching me cut out this fabric, I'm going to go away and come back when I've done that, because I think you get the gist. You're just cutting out the bits of fabric that are not the crown backing. Be careful when you're cutting that you don't trim into your felt. You just have to be a little bit careful about that, but once you've got that, you'll have a nice crown point shape that we can start to stitch with. So I'm going to go and continue to cut out all the bits of my fabric that I don't need, and I'll be back in a second. So I'm back. I've trimmed out all the bits I don't need, and now we've got a very crown-like looking crown. I saved all the other pieces as well because they will come in handy for something, and I keep them in this little skull jar. I've got a few of those. They had jalapeno peppers in them. They'd be very well washed out, can I say? And yeah, my little scraps get stored in those. So now the next thing we need to do is to make sure that all these, well, at the minute they've all got little applique pins in there. What I'm going to do is to get my thread, and I am going to do what I always do, and I'm going to use the Marrakesh Aurifil for this. I don't know if you can see that, and I'm just going to go up and down in a running stitch all the way on my crown to make sure that all the pieces are held down. Now these bits I put on afterwards, and I'll talk about those after we finish, but we'll just have this to start with, and I'm going to go up and down my piece with a running stitch in the Aurifil Marrakesh, which is a multicoloured thread. I don't know if I've actually got it on my desk. I do. It's here. It's this one. It's number 3817. It goes with everything colourful, so it fits me perfectly, but you go with whatever thread will match your fabrics. Now the other thing I'm going to mention to you that you're going to need is some elastic. Now you can use any kind of elastic. This is a nice thick lilac-y coloured elastic that I've had in my drawer for a while, so I'm going to use a little bit of that. And that just gives you that added extra bit that you can put in to make your crown fit most heads, because it's got a little bit of a gap. What you do is you measure your hat, make it to the size you like, but also give yourself a little bit of room so that you can maybe different heads may wear this hat. Who knows? Who knows? But yes, so a little bit of elastic, or alternatively a tie ribbon that you could put in either side and tie it together. I just found the elastic was less fussy for me, so that's just going to work really well. You could just make it to the exact size, you know, just join it and then not worry about any elastic at all. But I'm really fussy about my paper crowns, can you tell? So this cloth crown is going to have to do a bit of one-upmanship on those. So I'm going to go off and sew, and I'll be back and I'll show you other things that we can do to this to bling it up. So this is going to be the first stage, and then we'll have another stage where we make it extra blingy. So when you have finished stitching up and down your piece, then it's time to add in some more decoration, if you want to. This is all very much an as you like it basis. On mine, what I've done is I've added in some circles of felt in varying different colours, and then I have decorated those circles with different things. So, for example, we've got sequin and bead on that one. We've got a piece of my favourite kind of glittery fabric on that one. Bells, little jingly bells, and buttons. So this one is just a bead, a selection of beads together. Bear in mind where the centre of your crown is going to be, because you could do something splendiferous there if you like to, and make it, you could have a jewel or something there if you wanted to. I did not, I've just gone for plain and simple on this one because it's my first crown, so I thought I'll try that, but I may think about that for the second one and add in something more decorative on the front where it's going to hit the front of my forehead. But yes, I've also gone in with varying different colours threads to tack down any of the little pieces that are loose. So I've made sure that all the edges are tacked down, if you can see along there. It's just an oversew stitch just to tack those down on all the little bits that might lift up. Occasionally you'll get a little loose thread, you can just carefully snip those out. And then that's all you need to do for decoration part. Now the next bit is you'll need to iron that piece of wadding that we cut out onto the second fabric, the second felty piece. So this and this, these will be matched together and ironed on. And adjust, you try it out and adjust to the triangles so that you've got a little bit of felt showing at all the points and corners and things, so because you don't want this to be showing through. So I'm going to go through and just amend mine before I iron it on now, and this just gets ironed on. This is a Vlisaline, I do believe. It's just like a little, it's a thinnish wadding, and it's an iron on. It's got glue on one side. This bit you don't have to do if you don't want to. You could just do 2 bits of felt and that's fine. I just wanted a little bit of extra padding for mine. But any other, if you wanted to stiffen it, put a stiff interfacing in there, that's also a possibility as well. When that's ironed on, it gets placed together with the front piece, and all you need to do then is to do a little blanket stitch all the way around the crown points and along the base. I left the side bits there at the ends of the crown open so I could slot in my little bit of elastic, and you only need about so much to put in there, so it's just a small amount. Sew it in and you can adjust it then. You could try it on whoever is going to be wearing the crown and fit it to them. Just give them a little bit of leeway so that it's nice and snug and it's not going to fall off their head during their Christmas dinner. So there it is. I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial, and I want to see what you do with your crowns. I'd love to see some different colourways. I know mine's always very leery and bright. That's me. But I'd like to see if you go a traditional Christmas way maybe, or maybe you just pick one colour, go monochrome crown, or maybe you're just doing something nice and bright and glittery. Maybe you're going out for a Christmas dinner that's a little bit posh. You could go all golds and such. I'd like to see something like that. Anyway, that's enough from me. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will be back here very soon with something else. So don't forget, show me your thumbs, like and subscribe, and I'll see you back here very soon with something else. Bye for now.